little bit of rain this morning. This is why we work such long hours. Never trust the forecaster. I mean, what happened to that forecast of sun and heat? Rain, thunder, lightning, soon to be wind. Just a pleasant day. Worked late last night combining wheat. We probably should have worked later, but like Dad says, the work will be there tomorrow. Just a little delay. And we are working our way through the apiary, getting things fed. Everything's medicated. I've called out the tech transfer program to verify my disease monitoring. And, you know, I'm not going to say I have things that are under control because things might be hiding yet. I have a lot of brood in these colonies, but I'm testing. Well, my highest shake was 2%. Everything else is around that 0.5, 0.3, 0.1 non-detectable, which verifies what I'm finding within my own shakes. And we're going around and we are blowing out the failed units. So I'm seeing a little bit higher loss there. Some of these colonies have requeened themselves, but I'm seeing some queen issues, up to 20%. One yard I had a 45% loss, which, I mean, it went into the flow strong. It built me this monster crop, lots of swarming. So I'm not really surprised that yard. But why those queens didn't requeen themselves, or why I had such a bad take, I'm not sure. But that's why I build all these nukes. I think we have 600 to 700 nukes in my battery this year. I've increased that, so I'll just be pulling some from that to help hold my numbers steady. I'll be around that 1600 again. You know, that surge and then pullback is just that rebound. So that's what my battery is for, just to help manage that. So we have another 12 yards to go through to call out units. We're getting behind on that. There's so much work to do. Yeah. And I just don't feel like we're doing enough monitoring. I just don't feel like I have a good handle on what's going on within my nests. I'm in kind of uncharted. It's like typically this time of year my colonies are broodless or close to broodless, and I'm getting a good handle of what my mite infestations are. But this year I'm like some of those larger units still holding 7 frames of brood that will emerge over the next 2 weeks, and then reestablishing a young nest. I mean, gee whiz, that's going to take us well into October. So I have to be for damn certain that I have things under control, because those mites, they hide. But the ones we're blowing out, those are queenless. And we're seeing, like, we're shaking those and we're euthanizing those bees just so we don't spread mites to the rest of the colonies and that viral infection. Or nosema, you know, all those problems that just kind of linger on the bees. And we're finding some yards 0, another yard up to 5%, so anywhere between that. So that's on broodless units, which have been broodless for a little while. So I don't know if that tells you anything, but it just tells me, just gives me a glimpse of what I have at hand. It's nerve-wracking, I tell you, this time of year. This is the most important time of year, is when they set this nest up. We will be keeping the syrup to them. They are getting heavy. There's still a bit of a flow coming in. And we'll be keeping the syrup to them well into October to chase this brood nest. Make sure they're up to weight, because I'm anticipating a very healthy looking nest going into winter. And as soon as we get caught up with harvest, we're going to start with the oxalic acid. Even with all the brood present, we're just going to start the rounds. We got to get caught up first. And by the time we get caught up, maybe there'll be less brood in these nests. Some harvest weather. The less friendly phase of beekeeping, the fall call.
We've been through a few yards now and we're pulling them out. Mostly queenless because of summer casualty. Some drone layers. And what we're doing right now is we're finally making a round and inspecting the nests. We're finding a few of them we're in queen replacement and have queened themselves. So anything sporting this little wee nest we're putting in is very risky requeening this time of year. But the failures are being shook for a mite sample, and anything with mites, we are euthanizing them. Such a shame. The last thing I want to do is blow out a dead colony which has high-level mites or virus, nosema, whatever, and drift into a healthy unit, or a unit that is managing the infection. So we just blow the infection into the colony. So what I'm doing is we are euthanizing these colonies that are showing higher mite levels. Like, we're not finding high mite levels, maybe 1 or 2%. But with that comes virus. Anything that doesn't show mites, we blow into the grass and carry on quickly. But these ones, we blow into a bag and we kill them off the conch. Not very nice. But if we blew them out into those colonies, then we're putting undue stress, disease pressures on them. Any mites?
8 so far.
8 mites in this. So this is why we're blowing them out, because I don't want that infestation going into that colony there. So it's just a beautiful day to be blowing out bees. That romantic notion of beekeeping just kind of escapes you on a day like today. So that's a face that not many beekeepers will show you, but necessary in my opinion. Taking care of business. On my way back to the honey house, I'm meeting up with the tech transfer, not the lead, but the employee that's hired by our KRTP. I've called him out to do some disease monitoring for me. They're going to be sampling bees out of a few specific yards just to give me an idea where my infestations and disease levels are at. I am shaking, I have a pretty good handle on where my mites are, but I've yet to do a nosema sample, and I am very curious to know where my viral loads are. It's very important to know this kind of information. I could be, gathering up these samples and sending them away to a disease diagnostic lab, but I am absolutely scrambling with work right now. I don't have time to do that. I keep thinking I have time, but I don't ever get around to it because we're always being pulled in a different direction. So it is so very convenient to have a program in place like our tech transfer program, to have a professional lead be able to reach out to this person to access a service. We hire professionals to help us with this kind of stuff. Specifically with the grain farm, we hire an agronomist. We spend a lot of money hiring a professional to help us with our chemistries, help us with our weeds, our disease, insect infestation, continual monitoring of our entire crops on top of what we do already. And not only does it help us access on the spot direct professional feedback, but it also helps us tap into a professional that helps us glean all the advancements on the new technology, all the new happenings within our industry right now. And I'm telling you, there's our corn crop, and it is absolutely spectacular because the agronomy is there. So this is what I'm implementing into my honey farm as we're tapping into that specialist. I mean, it's hardly costing me to pull out the service from this tech transfer program to do this disease monitoring. It's set up to where my cost is basically what the disease, the analysis of the samples are. The program subsidizes everything else. And how can I lose with that? Just got to reach out to the guy. So at any rate, just about back at the honey house now to meet up with the employee of our tech transfer program to head out to the yards, give her marching orders, and see where I'm at. Out the way. Look, he's even politely yielding for you. Nice knock to the side. Oop.